Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison predicts AI surveillance will be part of our everyday lives in the future. Ellison said AI will soon play a major role in monitoring society through a vast network of interconnected cameras.
The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Every adult will need a new government-issued digital ID.
A digital ID.
Having all of your personal information stored in one place.
We will spare no effort to make Europe an AI continent.
To integrate you into this great reset.
So how soon could central bank digital currencies become a reality?
We should be helping countries to develop a national digital infrastructure.
Imagine every purchase you make, every app you use, every place you visit, all contributing to a single digital profile, a personal digital identity. This way, many details of your life could be stored in a unified digital record. That profile might eventually connect with your bank, your doctor, your employer, government agencies, and even your car. This isn't science fiction. It's a vision that organizations like the World Economic Forum are advocating, and that governments and tech companies are gradually moving toward. The rollout of this digital ID infrastructure is truly global and coordinated. Oracle founder and billionaire Larry Ellison emphasizes the need to feed AI systems an immense amount of all available government data.
For what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID, data centers, and so on.
The first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. Basically, I have to tell the AI model as much about my country as I can. If you want to improve population health, you have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data.
The benefits are clear. Digital ID will make our interactions with each other and with the state faster, cheaper, and more reliable.
Stay with me. This isn't some distant future. Steps toward it are already underway.
Facial recognition can now spot suspects in real time from live video, tracking organized criminals at borders, in public spaces, even helping find missing people.
There are cameras on top of the van that scan everyone's faces as they walk past.
Tony Blair is a technocrat. He believes basically that the people at the top need to decide everything themselves. And if you could have total control over everybody, everything would be wonderful.
To this.
I believe that those who are involved in this conflict, even they cannot predict what will happen. So it makes things even more difficult for us. But despite everything that is happening, well, there are some estimates that you can compare this situation with the coronavirus pandemic that impeded the development of...
Does this sound familiar? In 2020, we were told that lockdowns would only last a few weeks. It lasted years. Now, instead of a health crisis, we could be entering a period of peak energy, and that could be just as dangerous as a virus. Resources gets tight. History shows what comes next. What you're seeing right now, rationing in multiple countries, governments trying to reduce travel. This is what constrained systems look like. The next phase is not just higher gas prices, it's prioritization. Industries over individuals, governments over citizens, systems over freedom. It's what I've been saying for years. The future will be controlled by three things: compute, data, and energy. And energy is the foundation of it all. Most people don't understand what's happening until it's too late, but not you, because you follow me and I make sure I break down exactly who wins and what comes.
The war in the Middle East has caused the biggest spike in petrol and diesel prices in history. Australia is not an active participant in this war, but all Australians are paying higher prices because of it. And the reality is, the economic shocks caused by this war will be with us for months. The months ahead may not be easy. I want to be upfront about that. No government can promise to eliminate the pressures that this war is causing. I can promise we will do everything we can to protect Australia from the worst of it.
Thursday, April 2nd, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 12:30 in the afternoon Central Time, there is going to be an emergency test. You have now been warned. Now let me explain why. The Texas Division of Emergency Management is required to do these tests to make sure that their emergency preparedness system is working properly. That's why you're driving on the highway. You might see a sign that says, "Get ready for the emergency preparedness test." They just want everybody to know that on Thursday, April 2nd, they are going to start doing this test. And listen, this is statewide. It's coordinated with each city. These alerts are really important because they let the public know about severe weather, natural disasters, or some sort of public threat. And that's how they can get that information out to the masses and quickly. So you can see these warnings across multiple platforms on Thursday, April 2nd. Again, this is just a test. And what you will also notice is that it actually says test before you start reading the rest of the alert. So you know for sure that it's just a test. I'm talking about school districts, universities, colleges, cities, police, fire, emergency personnel. Everyone is going to be involved in this tomorrow. Again, Thursday, April 2nd, but it's just a test.
We're going to be involved in a drill, an emergency drill, on Thursday, April 2nd. This is critical. This is important. This is literally a matter of life and death. And that's not an overstatement of the role of warning systems and receiving these messages. They can save your life and they can save those you love. You've all heard me say time and time again at press conferences that we've had related to weather emergencies is that we need everyone to sign up to receive alerts through warncentraltexas.org. I'm going to spell that out. WARN centraltexas.org. warncentraltexas.org. I harp on that every time we have a press conference, and the reason I do that is because it is one of the very important avenues that we at the city and the county and others that are trying to protect life and property and safety, we can use that to get information to members of the public fast in times of emergency, whether it's weather related or some other type of emergency. This is a first of its kind statewide test. And in this first of its kind statewide test, all partners with emergency alert capabilities are being asked to participate on Thursday. Our hope is that by working together, we can ensure that no one is left in the dark, no one is surprised or unprepared if we happen to have a disaster strike.
Farmers plant in the spring. Right now, we are shutting down the critical ingredients to most European factories who make fertilizer, right? Okay. And so by the time that gets through, whenever it gets through, it's going to be too late to make the fertilizer. You're going to miss the whole spring season. So I don't know. I just saw a headline, Goldman Sachs, leading member of the New York Fed, says that it's going to be shut down for 21 days, right?
Yeah.
Miss the planting season. So if you look at the material coming through that's critical to chip production, the material coming through the straits that's critical to fertilizer and food, and the material coming through that's critical to energy, you're talking about massive dislocation of the global economy. And if it goes on for long enough, I mean, we have Peru, Thailand, other people talking about doing COVID kind of shutdowns to save gas, but you're talking about intentionally shutting down the global economy. And it didn't start with Iran, and it didn't start with the United States. It started with the City of London. Lloyd's of London shut down the straits with all their insurance company friends and reinsurance company friends, right? So the city shuts down the straits, and now the Iran is helping supposedly to keep it shut down.
Yeah.
Do you buy that story that the U.S. military is helpless?
No, but what I struggle with is it seems like a lot of countries and citizens across the world are going to suffer as a result of this war and as a result of the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So there will be global disorder and chaos to a large extent. And even if you look at Japan, they're especially vulnerable. But in the Second World War, Japan did Pearl Harbor, at least that's the common story, because they were shut off from the oil market. So when countries are in desperate position, they're going to take desperate measures. So this could easily lead to a much larger world war, this conflict in the Middle East. So that's a huge gamble then that the global elite, for example, are taking, because they run a risk themselves too. If we have a nuclear escalation and a nuclear holocaust, what's in it for them?
Well, what's in it for them is implementing the control grid and depopulation together. Yeah. Is what's in it for them. If this is, because we don't know yet. I think it's too early. I can't tell whether you're looking at massive incompetence on the basis of the U.S. or you're looking at an intentional desire to shut down. So this is COVID 2.0.
Yeah.
Because, this is how you shut down. This is a new excuse to shut down to preserve energy and food. I think the big problem here is famine. So you have seen the new administration in the United States systematically cut the domestic funds that are available to support food for poor people in emergencies, as well as the USAID and State Department aid to protect countries that have emergencies, like food. So you have, 25 maybe $1 billion traditionally that the U.S. had available to stop famines. That money is all cut, and now you have something that's creating the conditions of famine. So, to me, that's very disturbing.
So, Britt, right off the top, I want to say that I'm blown away by how much this thing has escalated since the last time you and I has talked. And even today, within the last 24 hours, we see the U.S. has, for the first time, we'll scroll down here, the U.S. deploys B-52 bombers over Iran for the first time, and they have bombed Isfahan in Iran. And while this is going on, now the average price of gas is now top $4. And where is there any end in sight? Do you think there's going to be a reprieve to that? In just a minute, I'll show you the latest post that Trump made on his Truth Social account regarding this.
I don't see any end in sight right now. I know Trump has mentioned the most recent, some of the most recent news coming out has been saying that the Trump administration would be all right with ending the war with the Strait of Hormuz still closed. I believe that would be absolutely catastrophic for the United States and its interest. We would basically be abandoning Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, all of these Gulf nations, the Kuwait, that have relied on us, and they will turn for protection from Iran to other sources, which would be Russia and China. And so from a geopolitical standpoint, the United States, I can't see that happening. So the United States, I believe, is committed to this to the point that they would open the Strait of Hormuz, which I don't see that happening outside of regime change. From Iran's standpoint, there's no reason for them to engage in a ceasefire agreement right now until the full weight of economic discomfort is felt by the United States. Because what they want to do is make it so painful to attack them that it does not happen for a really long time, if not ever again. And so they're going to continue to apply this pressure, keep the Strait of Hormuz closed to shipping. And we have about 2 to 3 weeks before, I believe, at the most 2 to 3 weeks, it could happen at any time, before the global financial markets begin to crash and we see severe shortages throughout the global economy as a result of what's happened.
Whoa. Now that's a heavy statement. So you're saying that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you believe that we could see something similar to the 2008 market crash?
Yes. Yeah. And barring some sort of phenomenal change, which again, even if the war ended today, many of these facilities have been damaged. Iran's facilities have been damaged. The Ras Laffan gas facility in Qatar has been damaged. Facilities have been shut in. So just because as oil is being produced, it's in the past been put on tankers and shipped out of the Persian Gulf. Well, since that can't happen, it had to go into storage. As those storage facilities filled up, many places in Iraq, Kuwait, other nations have had to shut in the oil production, which means they shut it down. It's not as simple as flipping a light switch. You shut it off and you flip a switch and it comes back on again. Hopefully there's been no damage to the reservoirs as a result of that, which means that they could produce less on the other side of this conflict, if that's the case. But it's going to take weeks, perhaps months, and in some cases with Ras Laffan and Qatar, they've already said 3 to 5 years before the damaged facilities can be rebuilt, because some of these component parts already have a 2 to 3 year delay in being delivered from their manufacturers. So this is not something that's going to resolve quickly, even if the war ended today. And then this has huge impact on the global economy, because, unlike 2008 and even the COVID pandemic, central banks can't come to the rescue and print dollars, print euros, print yen, and bail everything out. They cannot print oil.
Your movement going forward will be restricted. The measures are already in place to be implemented. If you want to get done things that you're putting off, I would advise you to get it done before you can't travel and get the things you want. They're talking about trying to eliminate gas from homes, that natural gas that you use. And what if they turn off the electricity because they feel you don't need to cool your home right now? You're going to like not being able to travel to certain places on an airplane? It's coming. The lockdown's coming. You can go ahead and say, you big Miss Fear, doom and gloom woman. You go ahead and think whatever you want because you're going to be caught into it. Keep being in denial. It's coming.
In the next 24 hours, the world as we know it will likely change. If you're watching this video right now, I'd like you to reshare it. I want everyone, we need to get this out, because we're living in a time right now that we've never seen before, not just in America, but this is a global crisis that we're getting ready to fall into. It is all pre-planned. It was designed this way. The things that are going on in Cuba, the things that are going on in Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, they're all connected. Every bit of this stuff is connected. The war in Ukraine, Russia, every bit of this is connected. I want you to see this, okay? Because they're not fighting a regular war. What happened in Cuba, that was a test. The power grid failing due to the fact that they didn't have oil and gas, that is a test. And it worked. So now, I want you to look at what's going on in Iran right now and the surrounding areas in the Middle East. Because they're no longer bombing facilities with the military personnel. Now they're targeting oil and gas, petroleum products, liquid natural gas products. And it's not just the Iranians doing it, it's everyone doing it. UAE, Iraq, everybody. They're bombing back and forth, and they're not hitting military targets, they're hitting strategic, economical targets. Oil fields, natural gas facilities. And now Donald Trump has given us this 48-hour cutoff, which ends tonight. He said if you don't open up the Strait of Hormuz, which 30% of our Earth's resources come through the Strait of Hormuz, 30%, 1 in 3. Think about that for a minute. Listen to what I'm telling y'all. He said that in the next 48 hours, if they don't open up the Strait of Hormuz, and they're not going to open it up, they've already said they're not going to, then he's going to bomb their electrical facilities, their power plants, starting with the biggest one first. This is a crisis, an economical crisis on the citizens of the world. And what did they reply with? You do that, we're going to blow up your water facilities. It's back and forth. It's an economical crisis that will send us into a famine, a worldwide famine, and it has been pre-planned and designed for one purpose. One purpose only. These people right now, they are working together in order to drive us into a one world government. This is the Great Reset, which was always just a conspiracy until we see it coming to pass. It's the Great Reset. Open your eyes, folks. This is biblical. Biblical.